peek back in, shall we?
The devil you know.
Uh-oh.
7 months ago, Eleanor Van Horn crept down the maze of sterile hallways under perennial harvest. She stopped in front of the large steel door marked Deep Engineering.
Right, so we saw the body, potentially, of a deep engineering person. Oh, you got a PS5? Congratulations, I'm very jealous.
No turning back now. She raised a trembling hand. The stolen keycard worked as promised, and the door buzzed open with mechanical efficiency. She was immediately hit with the smell of disinfectant. It was some sort of laboratory. In one corner was a desk covered in papers. Across the room stood a tall metal pod with hoses protruding from its base. She rushed to the desk and began shifting through the piles of papers. They were experiment reports on something called Tempus liquamen. There were dozens of them, every one stamped failed. Eleanor heard the sharp echo of footsteps approaching. She was out of time. Her eyes scanned the room, eventually landing on the strange pod. Muttering a curse under her breath, she dashed over and dove inside.
Uh-oh. That, I guess, would be how she aged. Do you have any PlayStation games you're looking forward to playing? That's very hype. And that is what change is all about. Grabbing the future by the scruff of the neck and making things happen. Change is a choice. I'm tickled pink that we'll be all making that choice together. How great is that? This man is a liar. Excuse me? I will not. I will not excuse you. This town has a dangerous secret and perennial harvest only exists to keep it hidden. Nonsense. They picked up the whole damn town and moved it right under our noses. You aren't making any sense, dear.
Mr. Kerr addressed the crowd with a sarcastic tone.
Yeah, the narrator is voice acted, and she does it really well. Getting Xbox Series for Christmas. We, not just random. Final Fantasy VII Remake after watching your stream of it. Yes, and Spider-Man. Very good choices. Imagine such a thing. It's absurd and just plain impossible. They promised they would fix the foul harvest. They told us they would clean this place up. We just had to leave town for a few days. But while they had us evacuated... Mrs. Hartford, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to... You're afraid of a lot of things, aren't you? You sniveling little worm. This is growing tiresome. A little help, please. Don't you all see? This festival is a sham. An excuse to have the whole town gather in one place. They're planning something awful. I don't know what, but these people are wicked. Don't listen to her. She has absolutely no proof. I am the proof. I'm Eleanor Van Horn.
Whispers filtered through the crowd.
Well, aren't you just sneaky as the dickens? We all know New Valentine's fertilizer was too good to be true. This whole town is paying the price. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so sorry about this disruption. My associates will take this obviously disturbed woman somewhere comfortable, so that she can get the help she needs. She's not the one who's disturbed. Two-timing clown. You all know there's something wrong with this town. It's just easier to look the other way. The truth is... It's quite enough, Mr. Nuncreed. Wait a minute. Okay, wait, I'm not gonna say- okay, nope, alright.
Torment dragged on Joseph Nuncreed's face.
Yes, sir. Take them away. No, I want them to see this. Ah, the ever-tempestuous Eleanor Van Horn. You've been quite the thorn in my side. like a weed that's burrowed in where it doesn't belong. I must confess, you look dreadful.
He paused for a moment, plucking a piece of fuzz from his sweater and discarding it to the ground.
Consider yourself in rare company. You've managed to pull one over on me. It won't happen again. I knew you had some sort of plan to disrupt our little party. But alas, I expected something a bit more impressive than incoherent rambling. No matter, your failures are yours to bear. Mr. Kerr? Yes, sir. It's a shame it was cut short, but I thank you for that rousing oratory. I will take it from here. Yes, sir, of course, sir. Done quality work for me, William. You can look forward to the recompense we agreed upon.
Kerr gave a bow of deference.
Foundry, you are most gracious.
Gasps rippled through the crowd.
Thankfully, we can dispense with the formalities from here on out.
Solomon pulled a glass vial from his pocket. In one smooth motion, he downed its contents. A triumphant smile grew across Solomon's lips.
You can all call me Sharper Valentine.
His body and face began to contort and expand as he disappeared into a belching green mist. A hushed horror gripped the crowd.
Oh, his suit changed.
This
That's
is
nice.
a story about change.
What? No! Ah, so you didn't see that coming. Hey, Rosie, how are you doing? I was wondering too when I saw that presentation yesterday, and he was the same breed of dog. But good.
Sharper examined his new hands.
Well, this is quite the improvement. Everything looks so much smaller now. Eleanor was right about one thing. This festival was a ruse. I wanted you all to witness my glorious return with your own eyes. Why does everyone look so downtrodden? This is a celebration, people. Maybe it would help if we set the mood. Mr. Kerr, be able to reveal the sign, so I know they were changing the sign, yeah. Wonderful.
Sharper choked out a crude squawk of a laugh. Frustrated grumbles sprinkled through the crowd.
Sharper, you malicious bastard. Oh. Glad you're back so I can tell that to you, or tell you to your face. You destroyed this town. I ain't gonna let you get away with it again. Sorry, this is not the time for audience participation. Some assistance, Mr. Kerr?
William Kerr gave a subtle nod to the clipboards.
Coward! Does anyone else have something to contribute?
A helpless quiet settled over the crowd.
I thought so. Do you all truly believe you could be free of me? Town of complete and utter fools. People should be celebrating my return. You're clearly lost without me. Yeah. Alright, onward, shall we? And that leads me nicely to my children. Daddy? Give you both the greatest gift a parent can give, the opportunity to prove yourselves in my absence. Squandered. Say I'm disappointed would be an understatement. But silence, Augustus, an adult is speaking. I don't know which is worse, a son who is completely hopeless, or a daughter with such potential who inevitably lets me down. Harris, you fail me with admirable consistency. Thankfully, I was counting on it this time. Father, I have been wasting time, my dear. What have you accomplished? I focus on cementing our legacy. Legacy? Who needs a legacy when you can just live forever? But what about... It's alright, kiddo. I'm afraid you suffer from a complete lack of imagination. But there's no helping it. Now then, where's Joseph? You didn't take the opportunity to slip off, did you? Ah, there he is. Everyone should give him a hand. Oh, this would have been possible without Joseph. I think you've said enough. Nonsense, the people deserve to know how helpful and loyal you've been. I only did what I did because he left me no choice. You always had a choice, Joseph. You were simply too weak to break it. No matter. Cheer up. You are about to be rich beyond your wildest dreams. You should follow Mr. Kerr's example. When I found him, he was in a sorrier state than any of you. An aging actor, desperate to recapture his youth. Hey, Omni. He played his part, and soon he'll be able to play the leading man again. Forever, in fact, if he remains loyal. That goes for all of you. Well, those who haven't already frittered away my goodwill. Beacon Pines is mine again. I'm willing to share its spoils in exchange for absolute loyalty. Are you saying William Kerr was never in charge of Perennial Harvest? You think that puffed-up blatherskite could have accomplished all of this? Dawn, I suppose it's time for your big exclusive.
Sharper addressed the crowd with indignant pride. He'd planned this moment for so long that now, at the deed's fruition, it almost felt frivolous.
You see, I needed a figurehead to hold things down while I orchestrated my return. Someone to misdirect, lie, and bilk this town for a spell. So I invented William Kerr. Take your bow, you've earned it.
Mr. Kerr flourished a preposterously elaborate bow.
Patrick C. Montesquieu. Thespian extraordinaire at your service. We've heard that name before, haven't we? He had a book in the library that was like, oh, Patrick C. Montesquieu is the best, and then it was written by Patrick C. Montesquieu, right? I believe. Also, Rosie, what sort of donut you got? Founder, I just want to thank you again for this opportunity. It truly was the role of a lifetime. Wait, this Bill Kerr was a Patsy the whole time? Patsy. Now that your secret is out in the open, what's to stop this town from rising up against you? Oh, that's the delicious part. Fear. Thanks to our clipboards, I know what each and every person in this town fears most. I will make those fears manifest for anyone who steps out of line. The choice is simple. I'm not afraid of you. I figure, Ghosty, don't you worry. The young hero. I've kept a keen eye on you, boy. You and your friends made a habit of disrupting my plans. What a pity if things could have gone a bit differently. You might have had your moment of triumph. But that's fate for you. You can't do this. Oh, but I can. Apple and pumpkin spice donut. Ooh, that does sound good. I have won. Never underestimate what a great man can do given time. Now, time is my plaything. Perhaps the most expensive thing I have ever bought. But well worth it.
Sharper coughed up one final laugh and cracked his knuckles.
Enough chit-chat, let's go to work, shall we? Or get to work, sorry. He's in stabbing distance.
And so, Sharper set about remaking the town in his own image.
Okay.
The fertilizer factory soon reopened for business. Sales rose steadily as more and more farmers across the countryside began to swear by its miraculous properties. Beacon Pines became famous. A secretive town that, for the right price, shared its gifts with all. Gifts that became more and more necessary in a world where winters grew longer and longer.
Yeah? I wonder why.
The end. This is wrong, but things are becoming clearer now.
Throw the explosive jam at it.
You can feel it, right? We can't let Sharper win. He might just be the key to this whole thing. Let's see.
All right. So, our other option there is to weep, and I'm assuming that would cause Gran to drop the torch. We also when confronting Mr. Nuncreed, we now have the option of malice instead. Yeah, so I think this is the right path. I think this is where we need to go next. But we can see about weeping. We can see if that would do what we think it's gonna do. Alright. Let's try weeping.
And in the stillness, he began to weep. It was all just too much. Falling to his knees, Luka whimpered softly. The tears crystallized as they hit the snow. Gran stared at Luka for a moment with warm sympathy, remembering why this was all necessary.
This will all make sense soon, Luka. Then everything can go back to normal. I promise.
She stiffened up and brandished the torch at Mr. Nuncreed.
Can't hide behind those people any longer, Joseph. Once their precious source is destroyed, we'll all see where their loyalties fall. Juniper, don't.
Ignoring his final plea, Gran flung the torch into the deep darkness.
Yeah. So, the crying just made her resolve stronger.
She smiled and exhaled in relief. Mr. Nuncreed moaned in resignation. The torch echoed as it ricocheted down the hole, punctuated with a thunderous thud.
You see, Joseph? I've learned one very important lesson in life. If you want things to change, then you must be willing to...
Before Gran could finish, the ground shook her to silence.
She went to cover Luka. And there we go, there's ice again.
Gran only had time to spin around and run to Luka. Her attempt to shield him, an honorable but trifling act. Unflinching love, pitted against an unthinking horror, there was no contest. Her warm embrace froze in an instant. That is where they remain, fixed in place, forever. And so, our story ends on this melancholy scene. In a town brought low by its secrets, sits the frozen statues of a misguided band of meddlers. The end.
There we go. So we did choose right, obviously.
That was dire. On the bright side, we finally figured out where all the ice is coming from. Now, we just need to find a way to deal with a mystic, unfathomable force of nature.